All right, getting set up here on Instagram. Blessings and welcome, everyone. And getting set up here on YouTube land. Making sure that all of our connections are activated. All right, getting set up here on Instagram. Here we go. Turning the volume down on the YouTube. Here we go. Someone's here already. Wait, that's the wrong one. Ah! It's so funny. Oh my Lord, life is just, here we go. I believe. Champagne blessings. Oh my goodness. So good to see you here. All right, everyone. Blessings, blessings, and welcome. Thank you for hopping on Instagram so quick, smart, so quickly. Welcome. Welcome, blessings, and welcome, everyone. I am Tuesday May Thomas, and this is 4D Trinity. It is here that we bridge fourth dimensional consciousness through the unity of mind, body, and emotions. It is here that we learn new pathways, gain new understandings about our multidimensionality, about our metaphysical capabilities in healing our lives, in accessing a much deeper, a much broader spectrum of self than we are taught to know in the world, as the world teaches us. We are guided and brought to the deep place in our hearts where truth, where your truth, my truth, our collective truth are one. And in that oneness, experience unity consciousness, experience heaven on earth, 4D Trinity. This is where we bridge all of these elements of self, all of these parts of self, in light of attaining and accessing the reality with the capital R of living heaven on earth realization, living heaven on earth realization. That is you being realized for the truth in your heart and actually embodying and living it. Now, what gets to happen en route to you living, embodying that truth in your heart is, for the most part, the story that goes along with being a human in the world is healing those parts of us that limit us from being free, from living sovereign. And so I'm just going to take a pause here because I want to say a few things before we get into the juicy. I just want to say that next week's show, 4D Trinity, it is our monthly Q&A, Ask Me Anything. So next week's show, I will be channeling for the highest good, your higher self. You can write in and comment. If you're on Instagram next week, you just DM me your comments. If you're on YouTube, you just comment your comments. And I'm going to start to make these shows a little bit shorter. I know the Q&A in the past, we've gone to 2 or even over 2 hours. That'll probably still be around an hour and a half. I'm going to try to shorten it down. And these 4DTs, the weekly ones that we do besides the Q&A, I'm guided to start to trim them down to the best that I can to an hour. Okay, so we're going to see if we can do 11 to 12. I'm going to do my best. That's what my spirit guides have given me of homework to do, to make things really succinct and as clear as I can. So there might be more information. It might be a little more dense, which you're welcome to come back and watch a rerun at YouTube if you're watching on Insta. And always, all that serves you, please take it and use it. Work with it. Let it process through you. Let it serve your process, your path. Everything I share here is fully intended to support and serve your path of spiritual growth, your path of sovereignty for the highest good of all. Okay, so next week's show, Q&A, Ask Me Anything. You can really, literally ask me anything. And I will channel your higher self. Now, we also use the Osho Zen here and there as it's guided. If you are not a subscriber to my website, tuesdaymaythomas.com, go there, hit it, sign up. It's the very first page that you'll go to at my website. The link is down below in the show more on YouTube, and it's at my main Instagram page. And It's just the first page of my website. I send out a monthly love letter with all sorts of information about the teachings I share, what I'm up to, a blog, and free goodies. This month, when you subscribe, you will receive an access to an article I've published called Conscious Alchemy, and you will also receive access to listen and to a free download of some very powerful power affirmations. So check it out. If you're interested in what I share, go to my website and sign up. I would love to see you on a monthly basis in that way. Also, as I've been announcing, I have a new project that I'm working on. It is a film. It is a movie. It is called Grid Mind Science. If you follow me, you know that I have just had this for almost 2 decades, pretty much, this absolutely fantastic relationship with the grid matrix of collective consciousness. The whole story of how I came to know it is in my book, The Reiki Apprentice. Again, my links are down in the show more box or at my website. And it's fascinating stuff. It's really amazing, but we are going to learn how to master the matrix through understanding this 4D consciousness, the teachings embodied through the grid work, and also that I share here on a weekly basis and everywhere. I share here, there, and everywhere. So I will be beginning the Instagram page for that very, very soon. So please stand by. If you follow me on Insta, thank you. There's new followers there, and there's always new followers on YouTube, which are subscribers. Thank you so very much. I always pray and affirm that everything I share truly serves, again, your path of spiritual growth and sovereignty, as it has mine. And if it doesn't, that's okay too. Now, as well, what I did want to say is that myself and Will be at Lake Shrine at the Self-Realization Fellowship for Easter service, the 11 a.m. service. So if you are there, you want to say hi, let's say hi, okay? So that's on Easter Sunday. Myself and Will, the apprentice, the BFF that I work with, we're both going to be at the SRF in Lake Shrine, Pacific Palisades. That's down in Los Angeles on Easter Sunday, the 11 a.m. service. And last but not least, yes, it is time for our weekly tarot. So after I do this live stream, I'm going to eat lunch, then I'm going to hop back on YouTube, and I'm going to facilitate our weekly tarot forecast. So if you're interested, if you're hanging out, you want to come back into YouTube land and check that out, I will see you later. Let's get going, though, with today's topic, working with the ancestors. So this is very, very powerful and very deep. Let's just drop right in. We're going to take a moment and take a breath. Collectively connect through all time, space, and dimensions. Doesn't matter when you watch this, because it's always now o'clock. We call in our angels, our guides, those ascended masters, those ancestors, those divine loved ones and light beings that are called to work with us, to walk with us, and that we call in to work with us, to walk with us. We welcome you, we bless you, and we thank you for all the space you hold for our higher good, for our higher path. Thank you for being the blessing that you are, for holding the light for us and serving to help us to remember truth, what truth is. We all enter the rose quartz crystalline cave to do this work together today. We welcome our animal totems and all light beings who love us unconditionally. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is, and so it is. Blessings and welcome everyone who's hopping on YouTube and on Instagram. Thank you for saying hi in the comments. How much ancestral memory do you walk with in your daily life? How much of what you think, how much of how you act, react in this world, in your life, in your relationships, business, romantic, otherwise, in your financial aspects, with your home, with territory, with space, with your body, with sex and sexuality? How much of that you give voice to, that you give a body to, how much of that really belongs to you, your true essence, your true self? And how much is that which is a memory from ancestors that you feel you are connected to, that you believe have a connection to you? Let's take a moment and feel into that. Does the memory, now, and let's just remember here a moment that memory speaks to the past. That's all memory is. It's yesterday's news. It's yesterday's news. So how does that memory that connects you to your ancestors serve you? Does it serve to liberate you? Does it serve to bond you, to bind you to aspects, beliefs, patterns that, again, are either going to give you levity, serve you in feeling liberated, or otherwise bring a sense of gravity in serving you to feel bound? And this is deep, right? That's why I'm pausing. Because we often will move unconsciously in life, and then we'll wonder, why are things happening to us? Why does life respond to us in certain ways? Well, we are reacting and responding to life in our ways. And which ways are those ways? Blessings, everyone hopping on Instagram. Thank you so much for saying hi. Thank you. So are we responding due to the memory of our ancestors that walk with us in daily life, or are we responding to a clear sense of what we are as an individual? And this is an interesting aspect, right? Because there is the individual I, there is the you, there is the me, and then there is the collective. There is the collective, and there is this sense where, yes, we are all one. We are all one. We are all one love. Yet at the same time, fractalized, there is you, there is me. And we each have our own individual journey that we are going through in this experience of being in a body on this planet. And if we believe in reincarnation, there's an infinite amount of bodies, an infinite amount of consciousnesses, an infinite amount of experiences, of languages, of cultures, of beliefs, of patterns, of addictions, of everything you can imagine here. And so which of those do you walk with? Which belong to you? Which have you said yes to consciously? Which have you said yes to unconsciously? And what really is serving you for who and what you are now? We are becoming enlightened. I know there's other spiritual teachers that would say the otherwise, that say it's not possible as long as you're in a body on this planet. Like, you're not enlightened unless you're like a really high bodhisattva here to just be enlightened for other people. Everything I propose and that I invite you to consider here at 4D Trinity, and the teachings that I share in my books and otherwise, is simply a new way, perhaps, or a different way to think about things, a different way to see things, in how we can have an experience that is ultimately bridging heaven on earth realization, which is rooted in the NOWOSPHERE, which is living in the now, which is free of the past and free of the future. We unbridge ourselves from old timelines that we have been associated with, those timelines that connect us and associate with us with the past, with those people from our past, with who we've been in past lives, right? There's chakra healing, there's all sorts of karmic healing, whatever healing, and often, perhaps, we might go in and realize, like, whoa, that was a healing from my past life, from I don't even know when, but there was some grief or something inside of me that really became realized and healed and released, and I actually feel better. I feel healed, and now I feel more in attunement with my truth, with my true self, because that grief, that pain, that shadow, or that tar has been lifted, has been given the right of way to be healed, to be transmuted. And so that's what we're talking about today. We are a bundle of memories. There are trillions upon trillions upon trillions of atoms that make this body up. Yet there is even, it is said scientifically, that there is even more space. You are made of more negative space than you are of atoms. Okay, so does the memory you walk with serve to liberate or bind you? So let's go into this. Are you unconsciously renewing an outdated energy contract or contracts, right? Or outmoded patterns through the memory that you hold that has been passed on to you. Someone, where did I hear it? I heard it on, I think it was Adamus, who channels a fractal aspect of Saint Germain. He's on YouTube, Crimson Circle. I love him. And he's based in Colorado, but I think he said something recently that it's about the ancestral memory, that it's the runoff. It's just the runoff. It's like the record that's continually spinning. Yet what side of the record is playing? Is it the side of the record that's like, yeah, oh, you know, that you want to hear, that you're like, oh, that turns you on, that like gives you joy, that gives you vision, that hooks you into truth, to God, to spirit, to love? Or is it the side of the album that's like, oh shit, we're all gonna die. It's all, we're fucked. Is it the doom and gloom? Is it that there's like continually something to fix? And now let me just pause before we go on, because I understand, again, this is what I'm saying is that I'm here. I'm here. I teach 4D consciousness, fourth dimensional consciousness. This is heart. This is truth. This is 0 point. This is being in the world and not of it. This is the grid matrix of collective consciousness that connects us all here while we're here. It is universal, yet we're going to speak about it specifically to this earth plane, to the world. And what we connect with is what feeds into us as well. And this is where, again, all those memories and all of those patterns and all those addictions and all those emotions and all those definitions and cultures and languages and memories, they're all here. And we are intricately connected to this grid system. But what lays beyond the grid is love. And love is the truth. That's what I teach. Love is the truth. So equally, the ancestors are a part of this. Those that have been here before, whether we believe that it's been 5 billion years that they've been here, or 10,000 years, however long you think humans or beings have been on this planet. And we're going to go deeper than this planet here in a little while. But the idea is that it's not only you and I contributing to making up the matrix, the grid, but it is all those that have come before us, you see. All of their thoughts, all of their feelings, their beliefs, and all of that stuff gets given to us to the degree that we will agree, with those thoughts, beliefs, patterns, etc., including the genetic things that we call hereditary, Alzheimer's, herpes, you know, all sorts of random heart disease, diabetes, you know, whatever all these things are. Yet let's remember that these quantum scientists and physicists of our day, including Deepak Chopra, Bruce Lipton, you know, they say one thought, each thought changes your DNA. And when your DNA changes and you change it repetitively on that new pattern on the side of the album that is joy and healing and truth and love versus sorrow and depression and, oh, I can't, there's no getting out of this. I'm hardwired to have heart disease or whatever the belief pattern might be. We flip the switch, and that's when our DNA can change. So let's continue. Are we unconsciously renewing or renewing an outdated energy contract? So again, how conscious or unconscious are we of those belief patterns we walk with, including addiction, superstition? Pardon me. Again, a lot of this stuff is given to us, right? Culturally, traditionally, religiously, through even media, right? But we're talking specifically about ancestors. Superstition, curse. You know, I mean, you might see it in a movie only, but I also know people who believe, I don't believe in curses. That's a whole other show, right? Yet it's this idea, and often the way that perhaps we've heard about that idea of a curse is through the family. Oh, it's a family curse. Every third daughter never has a baby, or every, you know, second son can't produce a farm and make money, or whatever it might be, right? Honey, these are stories. These are stories. Sexual shame, right? Energy contract. What energy contracts do you have to do with addiction, with hate, superstition, curses, sexual shame, right? There's clients that I work with. Can I just tell you how many energy chastity belts there are that we walk with? And I say we loosely, you know, I'm not pointing to you specifically. Yet when it comes to sexual shame and us feeling liberated and able to hold our sexual energy in a balanced way, whether you are a male or female, or you identify as whatever, you're transgender, whatever the thing is, but our ability to be that truth that we are, right? What I come across energetically often is the energy chastity belt, whether women cannot have orgasms because their chastity belt is still on, and it's holding them in a pattern, right, of whatever that belief was, of shame, of not being able to be fulfilled joyfully or sexually, or if it's only about the man, or whatever it could be, depending on the client, depending on the individual, depending on the belief, the pattern, etc. It's very interesting, right? Are these old memories, or these energy contracts? You know, are you renewing energy contracts that hold that frequency of justified violence consciousness? You know, you're anti-violence, yet if someone does something to you or to your family or to your or the government, you know, maybe you don't believe in guns and you know, are against violence in that way, say, yet you'll go to a protest against the government and you'll throw a Molotov cocktail at the building, or you know what I mean, or you'll loot. It's like, where's the cross wires here? There's also this idea of this energy contract, you know, and money and relationships, sex is always a big thing, right? In these spiritual realms, with like, how do we heal these aspects? Well, money. I remember sitting with a sister once, and she was having this realization where she said, holy shit, this was like back when, and we're getting better at it. Collectively, we're getting better at just being able to receive and live in our truth. And so amass a greater wealth, a greater prosperity consciousness by just relaxing. I'm doing my best not to curse so much. And I don't mean curse like I was just talking about. I mean the F word and the S word, because anyway, I'm just saying that I'm doing my best to have an impeccable tongue, but sometimes they might come out. So work with me. My regulars know this of me. Okay. So this idea where she said, whoa, you know, back in the day, we were just scraping. I mean, constantly, like having to put like 2 lentils together to have lunch together. Maybe you're in that now, or maybe you felt that. And she sat there and she goes, do you know what, Tuesday, I had this revelation recently. She says, I fucking realized that in a past life, I had taken a vow of poverty when I was a nun, when I was a Buddhist nun. And as soon as she said that, I realized, I did too. Like it fully synced in. And I was like, oh, we got to, like, for the highest good, just mamba jamba, get rid of this stuff. You know, like, this is not, how is this serving us now? That was then. And perhaps it served this life of nunnery and of receiving, you know, the blessings, the alms from outside, and trusting, you know, the mystic gift and all this stuff. Yet now we're hustling. We were like in LA. I met her in New York. We used to hustle. We're both Reiki masters and all that stuff. Yet poor, you know, and scraping. And we were done living that way. So anyway, these are the things though, right? And you see how now we're going to weave this other aspect in. You see how we're talking about that aspect of her in a past life and where it connected with me too. Remember, if you've seen these shows with me before, you are your ancestors. And again, I'm not here. I have absolute reverence and respect for everyone who is guided, who does the work of holding space for ancestral healing. All I'm saying is I have another way to look about things, to think about things. Now the God phone is ringing. The God phone is ringing. Okay. Let's see. Hello? Hey, God. Yes, I know. It's so exciting. I'm totally into this. Yes, we're going to meditate today. I know it's been forever. You know, on 4DT, we used to meditate at the end of every single show. I know it's been a long time. Oh, that's different. Okay. Yes, God says hi, everyone. And God's just reminding us that God is a verb, and that God is the feeling realization of oneness. No separation. Love and only love. Blessings. All right. Yes. Awesome. I love you too. Bye. Okay. God, okay, so this is awesome. So we're going to read a little bit more, and then God, this is the first time God's actually said, read a post from Instagram, and it's not my post to sync up where we're going. So let's keep going. Okay, the energy chastity belt, the vow of poverty. You are your own ancestors. That'll make more sense as we go on. Fear. What contracts regarding fear that have been passed on to you from your ancestors? Judgment, limiting beliefs towards men, towards women, towards transgender, towards LGBT, towards gays, you know, towards different cultures. What ancestral beliefs or contracts are you still walking with? What memory are you walking with that keep you bound to projecting through the 3D eyes, not using the third eye, thine eye be single, and the heart, not using your trinary vision, but using your binary vision that is related to the grid matrix of collective consciousness that keeps you bound to worldly gravity, to the gravity of the grid versus trinary, right? What beliefs, what belief systems are there? You know? And that's all they are belief systems, grids. And as I was mentioning earlier, if you're just hopping on, thank you so much for saying hi in the comments. If you've written a comment, I will do my best to read it, but I'm on a roll. And I was just saying earlier that I'm doing my best to make these shows more succinct. So I'm going to be doing my best to have these 4D Trinities. I'm going to do my best to make it an hour. To make it an hour. Next week's show that we are doing the Q&A, Ask Me Anything. So next week's 4DT might be a little bit longer, and you can send in your question through DM on Insta or on the comments on YouTube. That's next week's 4D Trinity, where I channel your higher self. And I use the Osho Zen to offer you divine guidance on your path of spiritual growth and sovereignty. Now, back to this though. I was also mentioning, just because you're here now and you weren't here earlier, I'm making a movie, and it's called Grid Mind Science. We're going to break down how to master the matrix with 4D consciousness in that movie. We're going to learn applied metaphysics. We're going to collectively understand how to heal our lives with a new method, And it has to do with the grid matrix of collective consciousness. And with that, I will be starting a new Instagram page called Grid Mind Science specific to that. So keep an eye out. Thank you, subscribers. Thank you, followers. Thank you. I really, really, really appreciate. I love these two platforms. They're my favorite, YouTube and Insta. So the grid matrix of collective consciousness, all a grid is, and I tell you, where I got this definition, you know, for many years, if you read my book, The Reiki Apprentice, you know, at the very end of this part of my life, it's an autobiography up until I was 31. And there's more to come on all that. But if you read it at the very end, I have my first ever experience in an isolation flotation tank. And it's maybe been about at least 6 years since I floated. And just recently, I called Crash like 2 days ago. And myself and Will are going to go float next Sunday when we're out in LA for Easter. So I'm very, very excited about that. But one of the time I used to float constantly because Crash runs a float place in Venice. It's called Float Lab. Go check it out if you're interested in floating. But I used to hang out with Crash continually and float like all the time. And one of the times I went in and I asked universe, I said, what does grids stand for? And in the tank, the divine came and it said generated rhythms of interconnected dimensional systems. And it was like, boom, that's all the memory is. That's all those ancestral contracts are. Generated rhythms of interconnected dimensional systems, belief systems, patterns. So again, they may be systems that rock your world. They may be systems that don't serve your liberation and your enlightenment. How much ancestral memory do you walk with in your daily life? Does the memory, which is the past, all memory is the past, hold to serve your liberation or your bondage? What wisdom do the ancestors have for you in this life? Now, this is the question we're going to be asking in our meditation here shortly. Where can you let go of unnecessary memories that have been passed on from the ancestors regarding pain, loss, lack, survival, and duality? Duality, right? Now, it's interesting because the God phone just rang and God was like, you know, God wants me to show you and to talk about a really wonderful post this morning from a wonderful sister, Joanna, and I pray I say your name correctly, Barbaros. She has an Insta called Healers of the Light, and she's a great author, a speaker, just namaste and respect, sister. And we have a lot of similar frequencies, right? We say things in different ways, though. We have different pieces of the puzzle, and I really respect her work. And that's what God wants me to show you and read to you a little bit of one of her posts today to help connect the dots of this, because this idea is in the post. If you're here on Insta and you saw this, what I wrote as a part of it is this, like, consider the consequences of relinquishing ancestral memory. And I was showing that to Will last night, and Will goes, that's kind of, he's like, that feels polarity. That feels, very dual. What's up with that? And I was like, well, boo, he's been present in my enlightenment, in my process of dropping atoms, in my presence of kind of going crazy, of unwiring, of rewiring, of recalibrating, of crying almost every day, of cleansing, of purging, of tar bodying stuff out. He has seen it all, and he holds a lot of space for me, the apprentice, the BFF that I work with, and in light of that. Also, what I had done in the light of this, I had a massive healing in March. If you follow me, you're aware of that. And what happened, and I didn't even think about this until I was working on this show, is that I had, in my prayers at a certain point, had cut the cords, had relinquished all of my relations with all of my ancestors, except for one. And that's pretty fucking hardcore if you think about it. But it was my higher self. It was like, I am zeroing out to the nth degree, that I am coming back to zero of just love. I'm zeroing out all and always for the highest good, right? We never force a will. And I never, when we do this work, we're never like, just take it away, right? It's always with grace. May grace be upon you. May grace be upon me, on the tips of our tongues, in our vision, in our hearts. It's always for that, what serves the highest good of all: God, universe, love. And that's what we work to do. And so for the highest good, I said, God, really, I'm ready to be released from all those patterns, those memories, those contracts that no longer serve my enlightenment, my oneness with you, God, my working for you, God. Like whatever's in the way of the true gift that the ancestor energy has for me, I release it, and for the highest good, I allow it to be so. And you know what? It happened. And I'm back coming into this, which is zero, which is love and only love. And that was a huge part of my healing. Consider the consequences of releasing astral memory. Well, yes, there's an elevative aspect, and your frequency shifts, and you'll go probably most likely through one of the most major healing processes of your entire life, because you're not who you think you are. You are not who you think you are. All of those memories. I mean, it is you as long as you think it is you. But as you enlighten, you begin to realize, oh, there's actually more. And you know what that more is? It's actually less. So again, the God Phone wanted us to read this in light of this. So again, Healers of the Light, right? She posted today. Why separation hurts. We all have experienced separation, anxiety, or pain at some point, but why? We develop, okay, and so this, I'm speaking specifically to this aspect where I relinquished my relations. I relinquished my ancestors, except one, I told you, right? And think about this, right? Her post says, we develop, right? So why does separation hurt? And I told you, right after that, I went cuckoo, crazy. I've been having these massive kundalini, massive pineal gland activations. Well, that's been happening anyway, but this was like, this just quickened the storm. Why separation hurts. We develop intricate energetic connections to other beings, things, and spaces in order to create external patterns. Ancestors. We respond negatively to changing patterns of any kind. We are scared of uncertainty, right? What is that? Uncertainty is fully living in the now moment. Honey, you don't know. When you live in the now moment, what I invite you to consider is that all you know is that love is the truth, and that you trust love implicitly. But besides that, you don't know anything. Okay? Okay? Now, when an energetic pattern changes, we feel physically imbalanced. Our cells carry energy in each atom. So this is it. Our cells carry energy in each atom. right? That's that memory. And what is that memory saying? What is the frequency of that memory doing to your biology, to your genes? Is it serving you or not? So again, we ask the question, what wisdom do the ancestors have for you in this life? We're going to ask them here in a minute in our meditation, right? And where can we let go of unnecessary memories that have been passed on to us, the runoff? Because our ancestors, they were humans too. They had issues too. They had stuff to work on too. You are the ancestors that you go to. You are the ancestors. You've been working on these karmas, on these lessons. We all have individually and collective for a very long time, if you believe in that. So, how do we know what wisdom our ancestors have for us, right? How do we know what unnecessary memories that we have? We look at the beliefs our parents, perhaps our guardians, have taught us, especially the ones that don't fit or feel expansive, nourishing, empowering, or authentic. That's where we find that stuff. That's the human, right? That's the belief stuff. That's the human. But now 3D, like ancestry.com and stuff, this is very 3D. And where I'm inviting you to consider this is that because, okay, and now this sounds very polarized, but I have these notes here. So 3D, ancestry.com, all that stuff, that's fine. It's very world. It's very world. Lies, untruth, imbalance, distortion, sorrow, bondage, restriction. We're talking about clearing the memory in the 3D ancestry that is specific to the lies, the untruth, the imbalance, the distortion, the sorrow, the bondage, the restriction, where we're going. If you would go, you don't have to do anything. I'm going, I'm there. If you're chilling, if you're like feeling it, let's do this together. But 4D is I am love. It's not ancestry.com. It's I am love. Okay. It's not bound by some, anyway, I'm not even going to go there. It's truth, it's balance, it's beauty, it's joy, it's liberation, it's freedom, it's sovereignty. It's all that good, juicy stuff. Right? And now earlier this morning, I posted some stuff on the brain. So the brain, the senses, the 3D, like how are we wired, right? We're going to balance the scales of justice today in our meditation so that we go beyond the body and the brain. We are not just a body. We are multidimensional beings. Yes, yes, in this physical domain, in the 3D body, mind, emotions, yet 4D anchored in spirit always. We are spirit. We are spirit. And spirit is God, is love, is eternal, is with the capital I and the capital S. So where we're going is we're going to invite the root wisdom of the ancestors in. We're going to do a little work. We're going to clear the memories, the runoff, the clear the memories that don't serve individual and collective consciousness of just being in love with love. What memories are holding us back from experiencing more love? Okay? We're going to get into the root ancestral wisdom that lives in us, that is here, and where we are invited to walk in blind faith. Okay? So it's not logical, it's not mind. But as we rewire the mind from releasing the memories, new synaptical connections will happen, which will create for the highest good, the correct conditions for that balance, for that 4D consciousness to be activated in you, through you, and to you, so that you can relax in your truth, in your heart, so that you can trust love and feel safe without the distorted memories that perhaps would be teaching you otherwise, that the world is unsafe. Again, so that everything I teach is that we learn to bridge through the body, heaven on earth realization through us. And we move from living in the 3D, in the world, to living heaven on earth, the earth. The world transmutes into earth. So the new earth, as it is said, the term is on the tip of your tongue and it's right under your feet any moment in the NOWOSPHERE that you choose love. I do have a book called The NOWOSPHERE. It's a free download, iBooks, and what's it called? Amazon. Links are down below in the show more box or at my website, which that link is at the main page of my Instagram if you're on Instagram. So let's keep going. Okay, so your ancestors, I need to put the glasses on. You are your ancestors. We already talked about that reincarnation. By rewiring you rewire the grid, the collective. You contact truth, fourth dimensional, heaven on earth, enlightenment. Uh-oh, timeline shift. That's what I was saying. Like when you really do this work though, so I'm going to like put a little cosmic clause here, because when you really do this work, like get ready to expect the unexpected, because everything changes. Okay. It's all with love. But so let's talk about this for a moment. A little story before we go into it. So as you know, my whole thing is the grid, right? I'm making a movie called Grid Mind Science. Been working with this energy for almost 20 years. Before I met my teacher, a lot of you have read my book. Thank you for that, where the grid system is introduced in through the teachings my teacher shared with me in the Reiki Apprentice, my book, The Reiki Apprentice. The year in Australia, if you've read that book, that chapter where we're in Australia, when I'm in Australia with Troy, we went to Carnarvon Gorge. We took pictures. I'm going to show you this picture. I'm going to first hold it up to Instagram. So look at the grids. Now I'm going to show my YouTubers. Look at the grids in this picture. I didn't know what a grid was. I had no idea, but these are paintings in cave walls that are, who knows, thousands and thousands and thousands of years old in Australia. Okay. In Australia is where I had my second ever Reiki healing. And it was to the degree, it was so powerful that I knew when I got back to New York, I was going to find a Reiki teacher and learn how to heal my life with this stuff. I did. That teacher is a grand Reiki master. Her story is she was attuned by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. That's a whole other story, right? Yet also, she's also a trans-channel healer. So she would channel on a weekly basis for a small group of us in Brooklyn multidimensional metaphysical energy tools and a great understanding of how the universe works by using the grid. And that's where I get my stuff from to pay it forward. This is months before I met her. And again, I had never heard of the grid, never knew the grid. Meanwhile, me and the boyfriend at that time were in these caves in Australia taking pictures of the grid. Now, my point is that as I've been releasing the ancestors, right? And I'm just being with love being my true ancestor. I've come to the realization, and if you know Drunvalo Melchizedek, he's an amazing teacher, and I want to keep this succinct because I'm going to do my best. It's already 11:43. I want to do my best that we're out of here by 12, within the hour. We still have to meditate, and it's only going to be a short meditation, but I want to make these points. I'm inviting you to understand that your root ancestor, and this is me, if it resonates with you, let it be so. Your root ancestor, my friends, is love. Is love. Love is eternal. Love is the truth. Love is equal to God in the way that I teach. So that removes all genitals. That removes sex, sexuality. That removes money. That removes all these 3D things. Right? Now, my point with bringing up Drunvalo as well is that he speaks to, so when we think ancestors, right, we can think ancestry.com. Like for me, I'm Mexican and Welsh, right? And I can look, if I don't do ancestry.com, but that is not my thing. But if I did, I could be like, oh, look, this Viking tribe or whatever they're called in Wales came from this, and these Mexicans came from da-da-da, and it's this tribe, and maybe I have some native blood or whatever it might be, right? And you can do in that realm ancestors. Yet, Drunvalo tells a story about the Mayans. He has many beautiful stories, and how the Mayans are actually the Atlanteans. And how the Atlanteans are actually not from this planet. So, I know I've been here before, and I've been in Atlantis. Many of us have. Yet, beyond that, if you're looking for your ancestors, what I invite you to do is cast your net even wider than we're taught in the 3D, to just look at ancestry.com and to our genetics, which are constantly changing as we change our mind, our word, our tongue, and hold a different calibration of frequency of love within us. Everything is allowed to fold and change in honor of serving love and only love. That's 4D consciousness, love and only love. Okay? Now, look to the stars if you're really seeking root ancestor wisdom that is unlimited by the 3D human experience. Unless that is your work with respect and integrity. So it is. And may, may it serve. It does serve. It serves. We're all working at different levels and we're all holding different pieces of the puzzle. So I'm not saying that I hold the one piece. I have one little piece of the puzzle here. And this is what I get to share. And if it resonates with you, fantastic. If it doesn't, so be it. It's all good. It's all good. We all get what we need. Okay. So the point is that what I've been realizing as I'm like, oh, this whole thing with Drunvalo is I'm like, oh, I could get stuck looking at my Welsh and my Mexican roots, which I honor and which is great. Yet if I go even deeper and go into my Atlantean roots, which I feel even more connected to, that brings me in tune with the Mayans, which brings me in tune back with the Atlanteans, which brings us in tune with that which is not of this world. And when you look, they have those super hydro, I don't know what they're called, those microscopes, those whatever they are. You look at an atom, and when they keep looking deeper and deeper, how they're like, it's a this, it's a that, it's a subatomic, it's a quark, they keep inventing these new names because they're able to see deeper and deeper and deeper. The more our consciousness expands collectively, they're able to see deeper. And so are we. And so, but what they see at the most, the smallest point is they see the galaxy. When they look deeply, these scientists, into an atom, all they see is they end up seeing the Milky Way, looking back at them. That's all we are. And so I'm inviting us to go that deep, if you would. But first, we're going to cleanse. For the highest good, we're going to clear. And I know there's comments, but like I said, I'm doing my best to wrap up these shows within an hour. Can you tell God, think he sent my... Can you tell God, think he sent my ships to the... Well, oh, I don't know if you're trying to be funny, Champagne, but you know what we say. You can tell God yourself with respect. So let's do this. Let's do this, okay? So take a breath, take a sip of water. I'm going to keep an eye on the time. It's 11:48. So we're going to do anything from 5 to 7 maybe, or maybe even 10 minutes. We'll see what spirit guides. And one last word. The work that we do here together is all heart-based. 4D consciousness is living in the heart. It's living in the heart, in the now, in the truth, in the love, in the God that you are. And heart, if you move those words around, what is that? Earth. They spell earth. So we'll take a moment. We'll call in our angels and our guides. And we know and we will remember that we are doing this work in the rose quartz crystalline cave. We meet as our higher selves, and for the highest good, we never force a will. We simply do this grid work together in service of healing the individual and the collective, in light of removing the obstacles and the memory that blocks the truth of love. And it's that simple. Taking a breath in. Deep breath out. One more. You are your higher self now. As your higher self, you are connected to love. You are in the now, protected, safe always, grounded. Now dropping in as your higher self. Feel your energy reach out and connect. Reach out and connect with all those lines of energy, the grid, matrix, energy lines that connect you to your ancestors of this world, of your lives and many lives here. Feel it and see it. Feel your heart connecting with the heart that is connected to those lines of memory as they reside in the grids now. Your heart connecting. Take a breath in and take a breath out. Ask your ancestors. Invite them in to do this work with you here for the highest good now. Do that now. Those that are ready will come. Once they have made their connection with you, ask them, what wisdom do you have for me in this life? What wisdom, dear ancestors, do you have for me in this life? And listen. And listen. What wisdom, dear ancestors, do you have for me in this life? And allow those messages to keep coming for the highest good through the day in your other meditations, as they will, in service to your path. And now, connecting to your higher self, as always you are, ask higher self, where can I let go of unnecessary ancestral memories regarding pain, loss, lack, survival, duality, addiction, hate, superstition, curse, sexual shame, justified violence consciousness, vows of poverty, fear, judgment. And just notice what you feel. Notice what you see. Notice what you hear. Begin to become aware energetically of the ancestral memory you walk with in your daily life. And if you don't receive anything, that's okay. You're still doing the work. Just be and breathe. Take a deep breath in. And now we go in deeper to the grid. And for the highest good, we perform the collective ancient memory cleanse with great respect, reverence to all ancestors, to all those parts of self, becoming whole and unified again into the truth that always is. And so for the highest good, universe, give me your words, God, that I may guide this collective ancient memory cleanse with our ancestors. Run the grid of addiction, of hate, of superstition, of curse, of sexual shame, violence consciousness, vows of poverty, energy of fear, judgment, limiting beliefs towards men, women, transgender, LGBT, different cultures, races, belief systems. Running those grids to balance for the highest good. Running those grids to balance for the highest good. Running the grids of healthy alignment, mind, body, and emotions. Running the grids of love, love and only love. Running the grids of positive affirmation over life and trust. Running the grids of releasing the ties that bind to curse, to superstition. Running the grid of freedom, of sovereignty, of liberation. Freeing ourselves from sexual shame. Freeing all the stories in the grids. Releasing, relinquishing them now for the highest good. Releasing the grids of violence consciousness through all time, space, and dimensions. Releasing the grids of poverty, vows of poverty consciousness for the highest good. Releasing those grids of fear that no longer serve our truth, our liberation. Releasing the fears of judgment, of limiting beliefs, of separation consciousness. Releasing the fears held in our cultures, those fears that hold us. Fears and judgments about other cultures, about other races. Releasing those grids for the highest good of all belief systems that keep us bound in hate, keep us bound in the past, keep us bound in the future, keep us bound in time for the highest good. Releasing those grids of addiction for the highest good. Releasing those grids of hate and replacing them all with love, all with light, all with truth, all with the miraculous, all with the divine, the sacred, the holy, the sovereign, the blessed. We thank you. We thank you, our ancestors. We thank you. We thank you. We release these memories. We cleanse, we purify, we allow with love these memories to be released from us. We unhook for the highest good and are so unhooked from these grids that we may be free, that we may walk sovereign, that we may realize our oneness with God, with love, with the truth, with the truth, with the truth. Take a breath in and out. Thank your higher self. Thank your ancestors. And we'll bring our awareness back to the body, back to the room. Namaste, everyone. We did a good job. I think we're going to end on time. Thank you, followers and subscribers. May this work really, truly serve your path of sovereignty and spiritual growth. It comes from the heart, from my heart to yours. Again, I'm Tuesday May Thomas. Go to my website. The link is at my Show More box on YouTube. It's on the main page of my Insta. Sign up for my monthly love letter. This month, you're going to get access to not only my monthly blog and other teachings and stuff, but an article published on conscious alchemy and a free MP3 download of very powerful power affirmations that you can use in this rewiring, right? We take away all this memory and then, you know, what's left there? Nothing. More love and light to just be with, to get used to that alchemy of being that love, of being that light and walking with that. And while that slate is clean, perhaps just sitting and being in that feeling realization of that. And perhaps there's areas that you'd like to rewire. And when that vortex is open, when you've done this kind of work, your ability to rewire is activated to the nth degree. And so if it guides you, sign up for my love letter this month. You will receive that free download of the MP3s. And they're very, very, very powerful and very accessible, no matter where you are in your healing path. If you want to donate to YouTube, there's a PayPal button. I'm so very grateful. Again, I am making a movie, Grid Mind Science. I will be posting either today or tomorrow, the first post or so on my Instagram. I really appreciate your support with that. Later, I'll come back to YouTube and put a link up here. Everyone at Insta, blessings. Thank you for joining. Namaste with so much love. Everyone at YouTube, thank you. Thank you. Next week's 4D Trinity, Ask Me Anything. I'll see you then. Namaste with so much love. Thank you so much. Blessings, blessings, blessings. Thank you.